Hey there, Vegas Nation. I'm your host, Cassie Soto, here with news that the Raiders have hired Gus Bradley as the team's new defensive coordinator. Bradley was most recently the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. Here to talk a little bit more about the new hire is Raiders reporter for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Sam Gordon. Sam, to put it nicely, this Raiders defense was not good last season. So your initial thoughts on this hire?
Yeah, Cassie, I think it's a good hire for the Raiders. I think you're bringing in a guy with a lot of experience in a number of different roles, right? We know he has familiarity with John Gruden. He was a linebackers coach under John Gruden in Tampa Bay for 3 years. So there's a level of trust. There's a level of familiarity. They know what to expect from one another. That you already have that. Not to mention he was a defensive coordinator in Seattle for 4 years with the Seattle Seahawks. You heard of the Legion of Boom, right, Cassie?
I think so. It sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar, right? Well, he was instrumental in developing a lot of the key players on that Legion of Boom defense. He has experience as a head coach with the Jacksonville Jaguars for 4 years, and then, like you said, with the Chargers. While the numbers weren't necessarily, they didn't blow you away. The defensive numbers, they were a solid defensive unit when they were healthy under his leadership, and a lot of their young players, like the Joey Bosa's of the world, did develop with him as the coach. So he again, I think he checks all the boxes from what the Raiders want in that position. Somebody familiar with John Gruden. He has a track record. He can coach and develop talent, and it really feels like a strong fit.
Why was it so important for the Raiders, Sam, to make this move to get this position filled immediately following the season?
Yeah, well, it just gives them an opportunity to kind of build out the vision of what they want, from their defense. And you start with the defensive coordinator. Now he can identify personnel or schemes or personnel groupings or possible free agents. I mean, he can influence the direction of the Raiders offseason and get the pieces in place for what he wants to do on the field this year. So that was the first order of business. That was kind of the first domino to fall on the defensive side of the ball. And I would expect that once the 2020 season completely wraps up with the playoffs and whatnot and free agency is underway, that you're going to see the Raiders be very active in bringing in the proper pieces or retaining the pieces that Gus Bradley believes are a fit with his defensive scheme.
Well, we had the same question for Gus Bradley in the initial press conference, but I beat you to it. Take that. We wanted to ask him, what were some of the selling points that brought him here to the Raiders to accept this position? Obviously, Las Vegas, it's a hard place to want to come to. So let's hear what he had to say about this.
Very excited. I mean, it wasn't hard. First of all, you're sitting in a meeting with Coach Gruden, who's awesome. And then we had, Mark Davis in there, Rod Marinelli, multiple other guests that came in there, stopped by. So you could just get a feeling that, they're all in this together. And like I said earlier, there's the same vision. And then excited about, being a part of the Raider tradition. I grew up in Minnesota. I remember in the Super Bowl, the Vikings game, so there's a long history of having great respect for the Raiders organization and the tradition. And it's, the fans, the history, iconic organization that's known all over. So to be a part of that and obviously winning is extremely important. And as a coach, to come into a situation where winning is that important, that's all you can hope for. And this shares the same philosophy as you do. So, and then the biggest part of it, you hear so many good things. It really is. When you talk to coaches that are here, and there's not one negative thing about being in Vegas. It's all positive. So, we could feel it even when I was part of the Chargers, driving up to the stadium to see where the stadium's located. And there was fans outside in the parking lot, even though they couldn't go in the building. And so I don't know. It's just something I think we're all very excited about. The people here have been outstanding and really can't look forward to the first day.
Las Vegas is a tough sell, isn't it, Sam?
It certainly is. Beautiful weather all year and things to do when the pandemic's not going on all the time. I can't imagine why anybody would want to live here.
All right. Well, we know that he will get hopefully started here soon, but can't, get in contact with these guys yet. How soon in this weird time do you think we can start seeing an impact here on what he can do with players like Jonathan Abram, Damon Arnett, Cleveland Ferrell, guys like that who need some coaching?
Well, I think first things first for Gus Bradley, and he's going to. I know he talked about it in the press conference today, Cassie. He's going to break down tape and identify what these guys' strengths are, and then how they fit kind of in what he wants to do from a scheme perspective. And he's known as a guy that runs a lot of cover three. In fact, according to Pro Football Focus. Bradley's defense in the Chargers during his 4 years in LA with the Chargers, rather, blitzed at the lowest rate in the NFL, 16%, and played the most cover 3, 43%. So while that's kind of the basis of his defense, I don't think he's necessarily married to I don't think he's going to try and pigeonhole players into certain roles. He talked in the press conference about tailoring things, making adjustments, incorporating nuances built to his players' strengths. So first things first, identifying their strengths through film. I'm probably going to reach out to these guys and try and get to know them a little bit. And then when they can get on the field, whether there's going to be OTAs and mini camps, I think that's too soon to say. But if and when they can do that, that's when you're going to really see him be able to work with some guys. But he can, there's one thing he can do right now, and that's start to build out his coaching staff, Cassie. He already talked today. Rod Marinelli, the interim defensive coordinator, who was previously the defensive line coach, been in the NFL for a really long time. He's going to be coming back on the staff, I would imagine, as a defensive line coach again, but he's going to be on the staff. And then he may, he alluded that he may be bringing in some of his former assistants that were with him in LA. So that's what he can do right away, even if he can't necessarily get on the field with the players, get his coaching staff together, identify his players' strengths and weaknesses through film study, and then build out a plan through what they want to do with this offseason.
The rebuild process has begun on the defensive side of the ball for this Raiders team. Sam, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Maybe this time next year, we'll be talking about some Raiders playoffs. That would make our job a little more fun.
It certainly would, Cassie. It certainly would. With or without the Raiders, though, I must say I enjoyed Wild Card Weekend. I'm looking forward to the divisional round this weekend as well.
Oh, the Saints. Hey, my Saints, Sam, I'm hanging out. I'm having fun. All right, Sam, thank you so much. Appreciate it, as always.
Thank you, Cassie. Appreciate it.